Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News. Here's a story that I've been checking out, but it just really hasn't passed my, vibe check for popular stories. Does anyone care? Let me know about Brittany v. Tyler and their kind of falling out. Brittany was on the podcast formerly hosted by Michelle Young. We haven't seen her there, but Becca and her man Thomas, aka Thecca. And I got to tell you, Becca is probably wearing the most expensive winter hat you can ever wear. Oh, there it is, folks. Sorry about that. And it's a very nice hat from Aloe. I have to say, those are very expensive hats. But you got to stay warm out here in Los Angeles. It's very chilly. It's about 60 degrees, 60 and sunny. So anyway, Brittany shares her side of the story of what went down. And then right after that, we've got Tyler on Chicks in the Office sharing a completely different side of the story. The truth is, Tyler, she probably just wasn't that into you. But I know we're trying to rationalize it, make sense of it. But, you got to take the loss. She probably wasn't that into you. In most cases, this is just how it goes down. But we're going to play both sides so we can hear what Brittany has to say. And then we'll have Tyler's response. All right, Brittany, take it away.
Those conversations was the turning point where you have this Rocky Mountain high coming off of paradise. You enter the real world and then things don't necessarily add up. At what point were you aware that this might not be your person?
I was asking questions just about his values and goals and dreams, and
she goes, "Oh, the reason I stopped liking him, he shared his dreams." And I was like, "Not on my book."
I just really didn't see ours aligning at all. I feel like whatever I said to him, he was just kind of reiterating that, and I really wanted him to just have his own goals and dreams.
Doesn't Tyler own a very lucrative basketball shooting game on the boardwalk? Wasn't Tyler the contestant? Isn't he like an entrepreneur?
And I want him to be his own person because I'm a very independent person and I need the person I'm with to be the same when we just grow together. I don't want to morph into one and just.
She says, She said, "I want us to grow together. I don't want to morph into one." Which one is it?
Independent person and I need the person I'm with to be the same when we just grow together. I don't want to morph into one and just,
all right. So that's kind of, we have a little bit of an issue there. You want to grow together, but not morph in. I know, I get that. I always say relationships are dessert, not the main course. You don't want one party to be the parasitic vine that grows on top of the other. That's codependency. You want both to stand side by side, getting equal amounts of sun and growing and supporting each other.
So yeah, I just feel like when I asked him to have a day to kind of process everything and he didn't respect that, that's when it kind of started chipping away at me. And I kind of just knew my answer at that point.
Okay. So she says she asked for a day to process things. He's about to say he gave her multiple days, but I'm just so we know the timeline here.
But yeah.
So you came to...
By the way, timeline is my word of the year, by the way.
This decision of, okay, we need to just take a break. I just need some time, some space. In that moment, were you hoping okay, hopefully he'll respect it. Hopefully we'll take a beat and, I'll have some time to think about what I truly want. We'll have a conversation. Was it in that time that when you say I guess he didn't respect it, and I want you to be able to have the floor to give your side because we didn't see that at the reunion. So,
and just as a side note, it pains me to say how beautiful all three of them are on very low quality cameras. I mean, they look stunning.
Did he just...
This could be like an Old Navy commercial.
Just continue to constantly reach out? What did that all look like?
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people have been, saying oh, he was double texting her. He's a stage 5 clinger. But when you're in love with someone, that shouldn't matter. I will text someone all day long and I'll have no problem double texting. But it was the fact that I asked him just to have a little bit of space for a second, just because we did Paradise. We went to Jersey. We went to Chicago. It was just nonstop hanging out with each other and being with each other all the time. To just I really wanted to have that opportunity to be okay, just because he's a great person, is he my person? So when
So Brittany escorted him out of her building, as it were. She's like, "You got to go." HR said it's over, and she called him a little bit of a clinger. But I like the point she made where she says, if you love someone, you text them 10 times in a row. Yeah, I mean, look, it's just early on in a relationship. You got to sort of play it cool. And yeah, when you're doing these safe house visits, you have to be hidden together. That's what makes it tough. Everyone should have private time. You can't just all be living together nonstop. You'll drive each other crazy.
had that conversation with him, few hours later, just, sending me Snapchats, like Instagram DMs, and then like asked me to have a conversation over the phone. So, I wanted it to like work out and maybe just be able to have the opportunity to like miss him. But when I didn't get that, it just kind of really was hard for me to like overcome that.
All right, there you have it, folks. She wanted this is in like I'm not like I understand the dynamics of attraction and building it. She felt smothered. It's just so funny when where are all the good men? And Tyler's like, I'm right here. I love you. Well, I didn't have the chance to miss him. It's like, and I'm not saying this as a gender thing. We always say like, I want someone who doesn't play games. Then you don't play the games, and then it's like, well, you could have just like played a little bit of the game, All right, here's what Tyler has to say in response.
But yeah, everything was amazing. She kept telling my family the entire time how much she loved me, how she fell in love with me, stuff like this. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, this is like, obviously he's moving quick. You know, it's, you call it like beach fever, I guess is what you can call it, where you really fall for something.
These ladies have fever for Tyler right now. They're like, I got 102 temperature. I'm sweating in my lower back.
But just because you're in this little bubble. And then after that, I told her, I was just like, I'll come to Chicago. So as soon as she left, a week went by, I went to Chicago, met her family, got to hang out with her. We actually went to a Chicago Cubs game, just stayed low key. But my show wasn't even on yet, so nobody knew who I was, So got a chance to like hang out in Chicago.
That's crazy to think about.
It was
that
nuts.
is also what is also so hard.
Okay, so then they get into kind of the specifics of how it all works out on the show, and then we're gonna play this long clip right here.
Oh, it's fine.
Sad he lost Uncle
But met all her friends and everything, and she kept telling everybody, every single person that we met, he's gonna be around for a while. He's gonna be around. So obviously, I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna match.
I guess we'd wonder if these roles were reversed, would we accuse him of leading her on? If he love bombed her and did all these, you're gonna meet all my friends, you're gonna be fantastic, and then all of a sudden crickets. You know what I mean?
You're giving me everything. I'm gonna give that back to you. As soon as I had left, I got back home. As soon as I flew in that day, she said, "Hey, I need some space."
Whoa!
And I was just like, "What do you mean you need some space?" And she wasn't like answering my phone call or my text.
Right.
So I was just like, I'm super confused right now because I was just with everybody. We had an amazing time. I was just like, you're switching a flip on me,
and she said she felt like you weren't like respecting
wasn't respecting
space,
that, and it was more
space.
just me being confused at the time because I was just like, what's going on? And like my biggest thing with her, I remember when we had left together in a relationship and we were in the hotel room together, I asked her, I was just like, what's something you're scared of like in a relationship you're scared of with me? And her biggest thing was, she's like, my last relationship I got cheated on and he treated me terribly. I was like, well, that's completely out of my character. You don't have to worry about that. I said, you're the only girl for me. I said, as long as you're with me, I'm with you. That's it. And then she asked me what I'm scared of.
And he's like, what you're about to do.
And like from the Bachelorette, like I talked about my past relationship where I had a girl that, wanted to get engaged to me, wanted to move in with me, this and that, telling me all these things. And obviously I was just like, I've never experienced that before. I
feel like the spark in relationships come from having a passion. And I'm not saying he doesn't have one. I'm just saying the show does this thing where it kind of takes you out of your job. It takes you out of, your workout regimen, your social circles, and it puts you in a whole new scenario. And then you put all your stakes and energy onto the relationship. So whenever anyone's in a relationship and they're like, I don't know, I just didn't really feel the buzz anymore. What they're probably saying is we stripped down the things that made us good, the things that we loved about each other. We stopped watering those plants, and then the spark died down, because how long can you just sit on the couch together shooting the shit? You still have to, you can do that, but you still have to pursue your passions, what you love in life, your jobs, all these other things have to keep going. And it doesn't mean you can't do them both together. It can be a Venn diagram. You can have a very thick Venn diagram, but you still have to have whatever it is that gets you up in the morning and inspires you. That'll be the fuel that keeps the relationship going.
Never had somebody that wanted that. So I was 100% in. And then one day things got to her, I guess, mentally, and just like a lot going on that she just ended the relationship.
Whoa.
So I told Brittany, I was just like, I can't have somebody telling me everything I want to hear and then just ending it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the biggest thing. She's like, I would never do that to you.
Yeah.
Get it?
Well,
Yeah. Lo and behold.
Yeah.
lo and behold,
Lo and
she
behold.
said she needed some space. So like a couple days went by, didn't talk to her. After she had told me, you know, she needed some space, and then she had said to me, she's like, I'm thinking about, you know, I always wanted to move to London, and I'm just like, that came out of nowhere, and I was just like, well, when do you plan on moving to London? She's like, well, as soon as my lease is up, like 7 to 8 months. So I'm
Saw all
sitting
the
here.
Instagram stories of everybody traveling Europe.
I guess so. But after that, like a couple weeks had gone by, I had the men's tell all to do. So I'm out in California, and I told her, I said, hey, I'm going to be in California for like 2-3 weeks. Would you come out here and like,
she says she's going to go to California. Then she says she can't because her mom's birthday. And then all of a sudden she's like, I can't afford it. He's like, I'll pay for your trip.
As soon as I get it back, she calls me up and she says, hey, I can't make it to LA. I'm actually at my mom's birthday party that in a week and a half, like right after my mom's party. And I'm like, you're going to London? And she was just like, yeah, I'm going to go to London, and then from there going to go to Italy. And I'm like, okay. I'm a little confused
A little
right
bit
now.
more expensive.
I was like, I'm
I wonder if she got the same Italy flight deal that Greg Grippo got. Is there some sort of like Bachelor, bachelorette.com where they...
going to be here for another 2.5 weeks. So while you're in London, I'm literally going to be in LA.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you were supposed to come here. Like, I understand your
So obviously he saw her priorities, and she, according to him, just didn't flat out dump him. You know what I mean? Like she kind of, it seems to me, she played it so vague that she didn't want to break his spirit, but she didn't want to make a strong decision. Hey, anybody in a relationship knows that this is happening before, where you're like sort of like soft ghosting or slowly pulling away, and then the other person draws in because they don't have all the answers, and then they look like the crazy person. It's like, Tyler's not crazy here. He just wanted to know where you guys stood.
mom's trip getting, like, her plans getting moved up.
And I'll just say this. I know as a male, as a cisgendered male, it's easier for me to empathize with the guy here, because it's like the Zach Brown song I always talk about, I saw goodbye in her eyes. He knew it was happening. She wasn't saying anything, and he was trying to save it. The ship was sinking.
I was like, but you still have time to come see me.
Yeah.
And she was just like, and I was like, and also you told me that you couldn't afford a flight out here. She was like, well, I've got the points. I have points to go out to London.
The points.
I'm like,
So her points are only transferable to London. This
and
is
I'm
funny.
like, this girl's definitely
Sounds
not.
like you weren't worth the points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was not
the
worth
points,
the
I think the points
whatsoever.
can be spent in any place.
In any place.
Especially
Yeah.
in
Well, now, to her credit, if they were points for an airline that only flew to England and not LA, then I could understand. But I've been a student of the points game here, and chances are she could have adjusted her points to make it to LA. LA is one of the world's largest cities. I'm sure, especially flying from Chicago to LA, it's literally like a $60 flight. Like Chicago to during the holidays it's more expensive. The flight from Chicago to LA costs less than buying a couple drinks here.
inside the U.S., I think the points
There
are
is
more
no
outside
doubt.
of it.
There's no doubt in my mind. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, and I said to her, I was like, Britt, I was like, you got to see this from my side.
Yeah.
I was like, you keep telling me every single day that you're absolutely in love with me.
So he just says, quit kicking the can down the road. How funny. What an interesting story. I wasn't going to cover this because it just wasn't sexy to me, but it's actually pretty interesting. Teresa in the comment section says, plenty of Toys for Tots programs, not enough for single moms. Yeah, we did Toys for Tots last year. We raised over $10,000. But this year we're going directly to our community with 12 days of giving. And today's our second day. And we've got a single mom link in the comment section if you want to donate to her kids' Amazon wish list. I look forward to the photos we're going to get from kids opening presents because of your donations. So be the change and support the community. Thank you guys so much. And we'll talk to y'all in a little bit.